The hot and cold cycle, the mixed messages that you'll get from an avoidant can be absolutely crazy making. One day they're being hot, warm, affectionate, loving. Seems like they're getting close to you, and then the next they're pulling away, being cold and distant, maybe saying they need space or just disappearing for a while. Some days they're all in, some days it seems like they're about to just ditch you. And then even after the breakup, they're telling you they need time and space, but yet they're still messaging you here and there and seemingly acting like they miss you and want to get back together, but then they pull away again. What is going on? You probably are blaming yourself, thinking that maybe you're too much, too needy, too pushy, too this, too that. But what's really going on is that this person is stuck in a trauma loop. This is a person that has deeply rooted fears of intimacy, a person that gets triggered by closeness despite the fact that they crave it deep down, because it's normal for human beings to crave closeness and connection, and they are no exception. But their nervous system has been trained that closeness equals danger, and it triggers them and it gives them anxiety. Their entire limbic system is on fire. They feel unsafe when they get that closeness that they crave. It all goes back to childhood. This is a person that was on the receiving end of consistent childhood emotional neglect. They were not given that love and nurturing that they needed, often growing up in households where you don't talk about feelings, and their own feelings were rejected and dismissed, sometimes even reprimanded. If you're sad, go be sad in your room. No one wants to see it here. So they learned that expressing themselves, expressing and feeling emotions wasn't safe. So they learned to stuff it. They never had anybody show them how to process anxiety or deal with stress or express their feelings. So they learned to avoid it. That's what they learned to do. Also, they personalized that neglect, growing up to feel a wound of shame, growing up to feel defective and unlovable. And that also makes it harder for them to get close to people, because their subconscious fear is, if I lower my walls and I let my partner in, my partner's going to figure me out and I'll be exposed as being defective and unlovable, and they're going to reject me. So they do directly associate closeness with rejection, especially at the subconscious level. And if you're dealing with a fearful avoidant, you're also dealing with a person, in addition to that emotional neglect, experienced chaos, potentially even trauma, betrayal, things that were traumatic in childhood, at least to them emotionally. So you're dealing with a person that wants the love, they want the connection, but when they get it, it triggers them. But due to their avoidant nature, they also avoid the self-reflection. They avoid looking within, because if they acknowledge any wrongdoing or shortcomings, it's the emotional equivalent of them confirming their own defectiveness. In the mind of a healthy person, taking accountability is how a healthy person grows. I did this wrong, so this is how I can do better. In the mind of the avoidant, it's I did this wrong because I'm defective. So they will subconsciously and sometimes even consciously do mental gymnastics to blame the responsibility of their behaviors and fears onto other people and other things. So when they go hot and cold, they could very easily be blaming you, saying that it's because you're too needy, you're too this, you're too that. And you're personalizing that and believing it and thinking it is your fault. But in reality, if you're being loving, affectionate, and consistent with this person, and they're going hot and cold on you, it's not because of you. Your needs for connection and love are not being needy. Wanting consistency with communication is not neediness. But what's really going on is you're dealing with a person that's emotionally unavailable, that lacks self-awareness, that wants closeness and connection, but fears it at the same time, and is going through this trauma cycle, this trauma loop in their head over and over and over again, but not understanding what's really going on. Their attachment wounds, their insecurities, their behaviors are not your fault, and you can't fix them. Loving them harder is not going to fix them, but what you can do is hold boundaries. Boundaries are your limits of what you want, what you don't want, what you need, what you don't need, what you'll tolerate, and what you won't tolerate. And you can simply assert your limits and say, this kind of inconsistency is something that really gives me a lot of anxiety and it doesn't work for me. So unless you are able to show up in a consistent way, communicate consistently, be present consistently, then I ask you to please give me my time and space so I can heal and move on. It's not an ultimatum. You're simply asserting your limits of what you will allow and what works for you, because you don't have to constantly endure the hot and cold, the coming, the going, the breadcrumbing. You can assert your limits, respect your worth, and recognize that you deserve somebody who is willing to give you the same effort and consistency that you give them. Don't sell yourself short, but recognize their hot and cold behavior is not because of you, it's because of their insecurities, their attachment wounds, and really their fear of intimacy, not because you did anything wrong.